Hey y'all, I'm Beth. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm introducing my new book rating system, R.E.A.D.S. While there are other rating systems out there, some of them are too simple, and others involve a little too much mental math gymnastics. And I wanted to create something that works better for me. The good news is that R.E.A.D.S has both an in-depth rating system and a simpler alternative that produces the same result. Intrigued? Let's get into it. Why use a rating system to begin with? For me, it's about generating some level of consistency in how I perceive the elements of a book were executed. To date, most of my ratings have stemmed from my feelings about a book, which is fine. It works. As a student of English literature, which is incidentally the field of study for my bachelor's degree, I now feel I should aim for more objectivity. Hence, R.E.A.D.S was born, and damn if that acronym isn't catchy. R.E.A.D.S helps you break down a book into 5 essential areas: relationships and characters, engagement and enjoyment, atmosphere and setting, development and plot, and style and structure. With this system, you can look closely at what worked or didn't for each aspect, and then give it a simple score from 1 to 5. No extra math required. I'm going to introduce the simple version of R.E.A.D.S first. Here you assign each letter of the acronym a star rating from 0.25 to 1, because some of us like half stars. Let's dive in and see how R.E.A.D.S can help you share your thoughts more clearly and consistently. R is for relationships and characters. This part is about the people or creatures that populate the story. Are the characters well developed? Do their relationships feel real and meaningful? Did their journeys make you root for them, cry for them, or even despise them? For example, in Persuasion by Jane Austen, I fell in love with the fraught relationship between Anne and Captain Wentworth. The will they or won't they of their rekindled love made them feel so real to me. It's the kind of character development that sticks with you long after the last page. Definitely a full star, and I'm not a big romance reader. E is for engagement and enjoyment. Was the book a page-turner or a bit of a slog? Engagement and enjoyment are all about how much the story pulled you in. Did you lose track of time while reading? Did it make you laugh out loud or get teary-eyed? This category is all about the emotional roller coaster or lack thereof. The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins had me hooked from start to finish, even though it was a little while ago when I read it. The stakes were high, and Katniss's fight for survival kept me glued to the pages. That's what makes a book score high on the engagement scale. It's the kind of story that makes you forget where you are. A is for atmosphere and setting. The setting of a book is like its stage. And if the stage is spectacular, it can elevate the whole story. How vividly could you imagine the world? Was the atmosphere immersive? Did the setting add depth to the story, or was it just a backdrop? For example, Erin Morgenstern's The Night Circus's atmosphere was magical and vivid as described, evoking memories of attending the circus as a child. Side note, I actually DNF'd The Night Circus, but even I can admit the atmosphere was a vibe, and I would give it 0.75 stars. D is for development and plot. Plot development is all about how the story unfolds. Was it original? Were there unexpected twists that kept you guessing? Did it wrap up in a satisfying way? This category is all about how well the story held together from start to finish. In The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown, the plot was a whirlwind of puzzles, historical intrigue, and unexpected revelations. The way the mysteries unfolded kept me glued to the page just when I thought I had it figured out. The story would take another turn. The pacing was relentless, but it still gave enough depth to the characters and themes. The ending tied together all the clues in a way that felt earned and satisfying. I would give it a full star. Finally, S is for style and structure. This is where we think about how the author chose to tell the story. Was the writing lyrical or direct? Did the structure enhance the narrative, like playing with timelines or different points of view? And did the dialogue feel authentic? Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell stands out for its unique structure. The nested, interlinked stories added a depth that wouldn't have been there if it were told in a more straightforward way. The style made the reading experience complex but rewarding. I would give it a full star. But this kind of style could be confusing to you, garnering a lower score. I used multiple book examples to illustrate these points, but let's jump back up to my first example of Jane Austen's persuasion. I gave R for the relationships a full star. I would also give enjoyment a full star, as I'm a huge fan of how Jane writes, and I always enjoy her books. A is for atmosphere, and here we go from the manor houses of the English countryside to the city of Bath at the height of the season. From humble abodes to elaborate row houses, tea rooms, and ballrooms, Jane paints a vivid picture of Bath. I give atmosphere a full star. Can you tell I love this book? D is for development and plot. Jane writes about relationships, but her plot development is just as strong. Her books go far beyond pairing everyone up in the perfect marriage. It's titled Persuasion for a reason. Interwoven throughout its text are stories of characters persuading or being persuaded. It's all very subtle, but this idea of persuasion drives the development and the plot of the book. Again, it's a full star from me. Lastly, how does persuasion hold up in terms of style and structure? I would argue that the use of subtle persuasion throughout the novel is a style and structure choice as much as it is one of plot. On the surface, it reads like the Regency romance it is, but it's far more sophisticated. Full star. As I said, I love Persuasion. It's my favorite Jane Austen novel and one of my top 5 books of all time. Adding up my score from each category, and I have a 5-star read. So let's look at how I would score something else. We'll keep it quick. I recently read Fairy Tale by Stephen King. It was my first novel by the author, so I have no other baseline on how I feel about his writing. We spent a lot of time on relationships and characters. I know those characters, and even those creatures, so that's a full star. I did enjoy the book, but King is so verbose. It felt like a little bit more editing would have made the book more enjoyable, so 0.75 stars. The locations felt almost like the characters in their own right. They were tangible. I'll give atmosphere a full star. The novel development was great. There was a little different spin on the chosen one trope, which I appreciated, but sometimes it took us a really long time to get to where I knew we were already headed, and I just wanted to get there. So a 1/2 star from me. And last, style and structure. I've already mentioned it's a little wordy and long. Some of that is why we know our characters so very well, and I do love a character-driven story. The book is told from the protagonist's point of view, which I also loved as well, so we'll give it 1/2 star. Again, for length and needing a little bit of editing. Adding that up, and we have 1 star, plus 3/4 stars, plus 1 star, plus a 1/2 star, and a 1/2 star. And that gets us to 3.75, which I can choose based on how I overall feel to round down to 3.5 or up to 4, and I'll give it a 4 star. That's it. That's the simple R.E.A.D.S system. But what if you want to give each element a little bit more thought and effort? Well, I have a plan for that as well, so let's check it out. In the in-depth R.E.A.D.S plan, each letter has 5 subpoints. Like the simple version, each subpoint is worth up to 1 star. The highest score possible is 25 stars, which divided by 5 results in a 5-star book. Let's look at each element. Relationships and characters. Again, this evaluates the depth and complexity of characters, their growth, and the relationships between them. What subcategories fit under relationships and characters? First, we have character arcs. Did the protagonist or key characters show growth or change throughout the book? In The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, Achilles and Patroclus both undergo significant emotional growth throughout the story, shaped by love, fate, and war. Next is believability. Were the characters' motivations realistic and consistent? Pride and Prejudice, again by Jane Austen, features Elizabeth Bennet, whose sharp wit and personal evolution make her an authentic and relatable character. Then we have complexity. Did any character challenge your expectations or provide surprising depth? Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin has characters like Jaime Lannister, who was initially perceived as a villain, but reveals unexpected depth and honor. And then we have character conflicts. Were the conflicts between characters interesting and meaningful to the plot? Again, in The Night Circus by Aaron Morgenstern, the rivalry between Celia and Marco is complex, both romantic and competitive. And last, we have group dynamics. How well did the relationships within a group work? Examples: friendships, found families. The Fellowship in The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien showcases strong dynamics, with each member contributing uniquely to their journey. Next up, let's look at the subcategories in engagement and enjoyment. This category reflects how much the book held your interest and how enjoyable the overall experience was. First up, we have personal impact. Did the story make you laugh, cry, or stay up late reading? The Fault in Our Stars by John Green makes many readers laugh and cry, creating an emotional roller coaster. Emotional engagement. How connected did you feel to the characters' struggles and triumphs? In the book Thief by Mark Zizek, readers are deeply moved by Liesel's story and her relationship with her foster father, Hans. This is an important one, and it's overall fun. Did you have fun reading the book, even if it wasn't perfect? Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan, is a fun, adventure-filled book that keeps readers entertained with humor and mythological action. Immersiveness. Did you lose track of time while reading, feeling totally immersed? Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling immerses readers in a magical world, making it easy to lose track of time. Compelling stakes. Did the book make you care about the outcome of the story? Back to the Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. It grips readers with Katniss's fight for survival, keeping them on the edge of their seat. We're going to move on to the A in reads for atmosphere and setting. This evaluates how well the author creates the world, mood, and sensory experience of the story. First up, of course, we have world building. How detailed and unique was the world of the story? In Dune by Frank Herbert, the intricate world of Arrakis with its politics, religion, and ecology is highly detailed and unique. Vivid descriptions. Were the locations and settings described clearly enough to picture them? We already talked about the Night Circus, but again, Aaron Morgenstern paints the circus with rich, dreamlike descriptions, allowing readers to see, hear, and smell the setting vividly. Mood setting. Did the setting contribute to an immersive mood or tone? Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier uses Manderley's gothic atmosphere to create a haunting, mysterious mood that fits the story's tone perfectly. Sensory details. Did the author effectively use sensory details such as sight, sound, and smell to create atmosphere? A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness uses those sensory descriptions, such as the smell of old books in the library, to make the atmosphere tangible. And finally, is the setting a character? Did the setting itself feel like an integral part of the story? Hogwarts in Harry Potter feels like a character itself, with its moving staircases and enchanted halls shaping the story. Again, the D in reads is for development and plot, where we evaluate the story's originality and progression, its logical consistency, and whether plot twists were effective. First up is originality. Was the plot unique, or did it feel like something you've read a dozen times before? Good Omens by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett offers a fresh and humorous take on the apocalypse, combining satire with supernatural elements. Conflict resolution. Was the central conflict of the story resolved in a satisfying way? In To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, the plot is resolved in a way that emphasizes justice, though not all outcomes are ideal, adding to the book's powerful message. Logical consistency. Did the story follow its own internal logic without major plot holes? In 1984 by George Orwell, the plot remains consistent with the dystopian world's rules, never breaking from its grim and oppressive internal logic. Subplot integration. Did the subplots contribute meaningfully to the main story? Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng masterfully integrates subplots about family secrets, and personal identity into the main storyline. Twist effectiveness. Were any twists or reveals well executed and genuinely surprising? Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn features a mid-story twist that redefines the narrative and keeps readers on edge. And last, we have the S in R.E.A.D.S for style and structure, which assesses the author's writing style, narrative techniques, pacing, dialogue, and how the structure enhances the book. Our first subpoint is the narrative style. Is the narrative style lyrical, straightforward, complex? Do you like how the tale is told? The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman has a lyrical, almost fairy tale quality that suits its dreamlike story. Structure. Did the structure enhance the narrative, like playing with timelines or different points of view? Like we already discussed with Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell, which uses a nested structure of interlinked stories, each affecting the others in surprising ways. Dialogue. Dialogue is so important to a story. Did the dialogue feel authentic? In The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger, Holden Caulfield's voice is authentic and filled with the kind of cynicism that perfectly captures its character. Pacing of the writing. Did the pacing help or hinder the story? The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown uses short, action-packed chapters to maintain a rapid pace that mirrors the thrill of the story. And finally, tone consistency. Did the book's tone, whether lighthearted, dark, or suspenseful, remain steady throughout, or did it shift in ways that felt jarring or out of place? Did intense moments feel appropriately weighty, and did lighter scenes bring genuine relief? Frankenstein by Mary Shelley maintains a dark, reflective tone that reinforces the themes of ambition and regret throughout the novel. I'm going to make up some numbers here for a fake book and show you that there are 2 ways that you can tally the score in the in-depth method. First, you can add up all the subtopics and divide by 5. Boom, score done. It works. It will give you a star rating between 0 and 5, but I prefer to score each section. I add the 5 subtopics in relationships and characters, and then look at the score as a whole. Ditto for the remaining R.E.A.D.S categories. It gives me an opportunity to tweak and rely on my gut instinct. It allows for the adjusting of the score in any given category. If I score a book 4.25 in relationships, it gives me the option to round up if I feel the relationships are amazing and deserve a stronger weight, or round down if I feel somehow my rating is a tad bit high. Once I have the score for each category, I then add those and divide by 5, resulting in the final score, or again, a score that can be rounded to the nearest star or half star. That's it, y'all. That's my new R.E.A.D.S book reading system. I've been testing it this autumn, and it's definitively my new favorite way to evaluate what I'm reading. Now that I've info dumped a lot of information at you, head over to my website to read more or to grab a free printable explaining the process. This download has additional case studies and a simple method versus in-depth method list of scenarios on why you might choose one over the other. For example, the simple method is a quick way to rate books you didn't finish, and the in-depth method is a way to rate a book that you may feel conflicted about. If you give R.E.A.D.S a try and you like it, please share it with your friends and come tell me about your experience. As always, if you have questions, drop them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next one.